Hi everyone, we just used our first timer function to advance a scene without our player doing anything. We did it in this scene where there were these three numbers, 1, 3, and 5, and we added a set timeout function that advanced to the next level in the next scene using our new start function, right? And so now we have use for our start and main functions, and now we're going to finally create a finish function. So as we've described, finish and start by default are null unless there's some special things that need to be done at the start of the scene. And now we're going to give an example of something that needs to be done at the end of a scene. All right. So in this particular level, which is level 14, so we'll go to level 14. We'll call level 14 and we'll call next scene. All right. You can see this function, the instructions say click the green ghost 5 times. So we'd say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's correct. And if I click again, we get a fail. So there's something going on. We need to click 5 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you have to wait. And it's because at the end of the scene, the fail scene function is called, and we have a timer of 5 seconds before the level is increased by 1 and then next scene is called. So how are we doing that? Well, we're taking advantage of our previously created timeout ID and a set timeout function. So we're going to basically use this exact same code in a different scene. So let's find that scene. Remember, we want to move through our scene objects by looking for the instructions value and then closing it. So add them together is the one we just did it. Click the mail is not it. And this is it. Click the green ghost 5 times. All right. And there's something else you'll note. Notice there's a second string here. And you'll notice that we actually in this scene have the instruction disappear. So we'll deal with that afterwards. But first we'll note, so you can notice like after the first click, we have the instruction disappearing as well. All right. So we'll deal with that. But more importantly, let's first get this finish function working. So we have, start is null. There's nothing special happening at the start, and the main function is operating the way that you typically would. The answer is click the 0 icon. There's only one icon, the green ghost, and it needs to be clicked 5 times. So that's why we have 5 zeros in a row. So it's the 0 icon value that's clicked 5 times in a row. But at the finish, we want to call a function. All right. And in this function, we want to do our set time, we have our timeout ID, and we want to set it equal to a set timeout. And we want to have a function run after 5 seconds. So after 5 seconds, all right, we want to go to the next scene. So again, we have level goes up, level plus plus, and we call next scene. So this is similar to the previous one where we've written this logic, but nowhere in Moron.js is this being dealt with. So we need to add this finish function call somewhere in our Moron.js. And in this time, so play scene is something that we want to make sure we run any start functions at the start of a scene before we do any of our clicks. All right. But this time, this is after our clicks are done. And our checks are clicks. If you remember, whenever we're clicking, we're running check icon and index. And so it's within this check icon and index function that we wanted add our logic for running a finish to the scene. So if you think about it, it makes sense that it's when it's within the ending of a scene. So when it's complete, normally we just go right to, we increase the level and go to the next scene. But instead, what we're going to first do is check to see if there's a finish scene. So we'd say a new if statement here, and we're going to say if there's a finish scene. So we're going to say if scene level has a finish value, meaning it's not null, then we're going to run that scene finish function. So we'd say scene, if it's there, if one's there, run it. So dot finish, and we'd call it, all right? And then we have this else statement, and it's within the else statement that this is where we now finish our scene, all right? So the idea is when the click count equals the clicks needed, all right, that means the scene is done. Check for a finish function. If there's one there, run it. Otherwise, just increase the level and go to the next scene, okay? So if we save this and we go to our Moron test, so we can go to level 14 and we run next scene, all right? And we click the green ghost 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait. Yep, and it's working after 5 seconds. So the only thing missing now is our, click the green ghost, right? We need to have this instruction disappear. And so in order to do that, that's done within that's the easy part. So that's not new. That's working with our existing functions. We're going to use our change instructions function, right? We have our change instructions text function that we can use, and we're going to just tell it to go to the next empty string value. So we can go to, and if you remember, we've done this before, right? So we do it within the main function, and we use the a switch statement, right? And so if we can look at an example before from let's find one. Here we go. Nope. Not smash the bugs. Here we go. So we remember our switch statement where we have our switch statement, and this is our case, and it's always based on click count. In the case, this value, the number, is equal to click count. So if click count is 1, do something. So effectively we're doing this. Switch on click count case 1, change instructions to the next one, which is this empty string. So it's exactly the same thing here, except for we just don't have a case 2 and moving icons. The rest is just the typical, hey, just do whatever, check answers. That's all we care about. So if you think about it, it's just this switch right here. So the last thing we have to do is we have to add that switch statement. So in our main function of our click the green ghost 5 times scene, we have to call that switch statement. So we would call switch, and tracking the click count, we're going to say for case 1, let's change instructions of this scenes, this dot instructions value 1, which is the empty string, and then we break, and that should do it. So let's have a look. All right, we want to call level 14, call next scene, and we click the ghost once, and you can see it's gone. Twice, 3, 4, 5, and 5 seconds should pass. 3, 4, up. Yep, there we go, and we went to the next scene. So now we have used our finish function where needed to add a delay for a little bit of trickery for our users. Is like, did I click that 5 times? And they may click one more time. All right, so with that completed, we can finish off our main set of tutorials with a fail function so that when someone's playing the game and they make a mistake, it actually shows you a fail function. Whereas right now, our game presently, if we call the scene and we make a mistake, it just tells us wrong icon, and we need to be a little more mean than that.